Hello everyone. Today what we're going to talk about is switching forms in between slope-intercept form. So that's our y equals mx plus b, and our standard form, which we talked about yesterday, or the last day that you took notes. So y equals mx plus b, and my Mobi's broken, so we're just doing the best we can with what we have. And our standard form, which is ax plus by, oops, equals c. All right, so slope-intercept form and standard form. We're going to be able to switch back and forth between the two of these. And part of the reason we want to be able to switch between the two of them is that slope-intercept form is a little bit more intuitive. So we have y equals mx plus b. We've been talking about this form for a couple weeks now. So if we look at the m, this is one of the letters that changes. M, of course, means slope. We'll just get that to match. So the slope is our change of our y over our change in our x. So it's how much it's going up or down versus how much it's going left or right. So up, over, to the right. So whatever that number is in front of the x, we can identify that. And then we have our b value, and that stands for our y-intercept. And our y-intercept is where the graph crosses the y-axis. So remember, our y-axis is our vertical axis. It's the one that goes up and down. So if the y-intercept is positive, that's values above the x-axis. If the y-intercept is negative, that's values below the x-axis. So let's just take a look at an example really quick. If we would have y equals negative 2/3 x minus, or let's make this plus 4. I can pick out the slope and the y-intercept, and then I can easily graph it. So let's put that down there really quick too. So my slope is negative 2/3. It's the number in front of x. So that means I'm going down 2, and every time I'm going to the right 3. But I need to know where I'm starting first, and I do that by looking at my y-intercept. And my y-intercept is at positive 4. So we'd be going up 4 units on the y-axis, putting a dot, and then from that point we're going to graph our slope. So down 2 and to the right 3. Woo, that one got away. So down 2 and to the right 3, down 2 and to the right 3. And then of course we need to make our line, and we need to put arrows on it. So if something's in slope-intercept form, it's really handy for us because we can look at it right away in that form and identify what the slope is and what the graph is going to look like, because I'm going to know where to start that slope from identifying the y-intercept. So here's the equation y equals 3x minus 2. Again, we can take a look at this. Here's my slope in front of the x. That's a slope of 3, which is 3/1, which means I'm rising up 3 every time I'm going to the right 1 unit, which means it's kind of climbing pretty steep. And then of course I have my y-intercept, which is negative 2. And we can graph that going down 2 units on the y-axis, put a point right there, and then we'd be going up 3 and to the right 1, and put a dot, up 3 to the right 1. Draw our line, and the GoFormative has a really nice line tool that's pretty easy to graph with. That makes it look much better than that. So we're going to give this a couple shots, and what we're going to be doing is giving the information of the slope and the y-intercept, and you're going to be asked to write the equation, and that's what you practiced on Khan Academy. Look at these examples. It says write a linear equation with a given slope of -2 and a y-intercept of 7. So writing a linear equation, that means we can be in the form y equals mx plus b and we are plugging numbers in for our slope and our y-intercept. So since our slope is -2, -2 is going in for the letter m. And since our y-intercept is 7, 7 is going in for the letter b, because that's what a y-intercept is. So that gives us the equation y equals, let's get those good equal signs, -2, that's our m, then we have our x, and then 7 is positive, so it becomes plus 7. And there we go. It's in y equals mx plus b form, and that's our linear equation. So I'm going to give you some values, and what I'd like you to do is give these a shot, try them out. Slope of -1/4 for the first one, and let's make a y-intercept of -2. And then because I think you guys can already do this and you're pretty good at it, let's make a slope of 3 and a y-intercept of 0. So it should be, we've already got the form ready for us, y equals mx plus b and y equals mx plus b. Our slope is -1/4, so slope goes in for the letter m. So instead of m, we're going to write -1/4 x. And then our y-intercept is -2, so that's going in for letter b. So instead of writing plus a -2, a negative times a positive is a negative, so we're just going to write -2. So that makes it y equals -1/4 x minus 2, and that's our slope-intercept form linear equation. Over here, we've got a slope of 3. So 3 is going in for the letter m. So we've got y equals already set up for us. Y equals 3x, and a slope of 3 means we're going up 3 to the right 1. And we've got a y-intercept of 0. So 0 goes in for b. So I can either write plus 0. Whoop. Let's get that out of there. Or I can just leave it as y equals 3x. Either one of those is going to be okay. Y equals 3x or y equals 3x plus 0. That means it's going through the origin. So here we've got one in standard form, that ax plus by equals c, and we want to switch it into slope-intercept form. And the reason we want to do that is because if I can have it in slope-intercept form, as you've been able to see, it's way easier to find the slope and the y-intercept, which means it's easier to graph. You can always find the x-intercept and the y-intercept in this form, but putting it in slope-intercept form just makes it a little bit easier. 3x plus 2y equals 8. And I need to get y by itself because the formula is, for slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. So mx plus b. Yep. So I have x and y on the same side over here. So I need to get them on opposite sides. So I want to move 3x to the other side. And the way I'm going to do that is by subtracting 3x from both sides. Positive 3x, negative 3x disappear. 2y is the only thing on the left-hand side. 8 and 3x are not like terms, so I cannot combine those. So we've got 2y equals 8 minus 3x, and my goal is to get y by itself. So I'm looking over here, 2 is being multiplied by y, so to undo multiplying, what we have to do is we have to divide. So I'm going to divide everything by 2. 2 divided by 2, that's going to cross off. 8 divided by 2 is going to give us 4. So we get y equals 4 minus 3 half x. And then I want to put it in y equals mx plus b form, where the x is written first and the y-intercept is written second. So y equals negative 3 half x plus 4. So why don't you take a look at this one and give it a shot. You should get for your final answer. We can take a look here and see we need to get x and y on different sides. So subtracting 4x from both sides removes it from the left-hand side. So negative 2y equals 12 minus 4x. And you can go ahead and rewrite it right away with the x first and the plus 12 second if you'd like. Then we need to divide everything by negative 2, so y is by itself. So y equals negative 6 plus 2x. And then we rewrite that to be y equals 6x y equals 2x minus 6. And now that's in slope-intercept form. So my slope is 2 and my y-intercept is negative 6, and I can graph that. We are going to take a look at writing the equations in standard form. Magic, we've got that form written up there, ax plus by equals c. And we said a, b, and c must be integers, so counting numbers, no fractions, and a must be positive. So right now it's in slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. So we need to get x and y on the same sides. So we move positive 2x to get to the other side by subtracting 2x. So right now we've got negative 2x on the left-hand side, and we have a positive y. Positive y, because it's a 1 there, and that equals negative 4. So we're all good. We've got integers, except a is not positive. A is negative 2 right now. So what I need to do is I need to multiply every single thing, and one way we can do that is by going like this, brackets around the whole thing, and just putting a negative 1 on the outside. Or just switching the signs, and that gives us 2x minus y equals 4. So I'm going to have you guys write this one down, and I'm going to walk you through this, but you can pause the video and try to walk through it right now all on your own. Look at this one. We've got y equals negative 1/4 x plus 3. So we want to make sure that we are in standard form, so that's ax plus by equals c. So we're going to move this to the other side, and we have to undo that. So instead of minusing 1/4 x, we are going to add 1/4 x to both sides. So we get 1/4 x, then we've got plus y, equals 3, because this disappeared from this side. So we're close. A is positive, but these are not integers. So what we want to do is multiply every single term by 4. So 1/4 times 4x plus 4 times y plus 4 times 3. And what we're left with is x plus 4y equals 12. Because 4 and 1/4. 1/4 of 4 is 1. So 1x plus 4y equals 12. And that's in standard form. And that's it for our notes today. So go on to GoFormative and give it a shot.